Welcome to Simply Felicity. I have a little exciting announcement before I bring on my guest today. Actually, today is totally exciting for me, but I'll get into that. One of the things, though, is that I'm actually getting a theme song for the show. Yes. So I'm very excited about that. You can be looking forward to it. I just reached out to someone whose video I actually shared yesterday. If you saw it, Believe All Women or something like that. And this guy is really, really talented. And so I'm very excited about a theme show. So I'm also excited about my guest today. She's someone I have known for a while now. And maybe she remembers how long it's been that we've known each other. But we've worked together in various capacities. And recently, she told me about a training that she had received on an amazing program called Human Design. So I have with me Ashley Perez here to talk about that. Thanks for joining me, Ashley.
Hi, awesome to be here.
Yay. So I was just saying, I can't remember how long we've even known each other. Do you have any idea?
I'm actually really good with dates.
Ooh,
So
yay.
I'm pretty sure it's like exactly 6 years in April.
Okay. So you're more like amazing with dates. Why would you remember it's April?
I don't know. That was like
Oh,
a huge like turning point when I decided to actually like do coaching and invest in my business. So that's definitely like on my timeline of events that I remember. So
that's fantastic. I'm so glad to be on the timeline, really. So I got to know you as like um sort of a holistic food coach. I got to know your food about the same time I got to know you, I think.
yeah,
Um
I was making the lunches, right? At
you
that
were
for,
Yes, you were making the lunches
yeah.
for a business coaching and all day business coaching. We would get to have breakfast and snacks and lunch with you. Oh my God. And I mean, listen, the training was awesome and I got a lot out of it. I looked forward to the food as much as the training for sure. That was like a really big deal for me. Actually, because I grew up, I mean, I think food in general used to be a little healthier when I was growing up, but um, we weren't, always into the healthiest stuff. So anyway, I really convinced myself that I was going to like healthy food. So I would like say that to myself that I love healthy food. I love healthy food. But I didn't actually love healthy food until I had yours. And I was like, this is an awesome turning point here for me. Like, this is someone showing me that healthy food can be absolutely delicious. So, thank you for that gift, by the way. Yeah. But and I'm finding this happens as I follow people in their journey. A lot of times people that talk about health and talk about food do end up branching out a little bit more because as you coach, you realize that those things are connected. So can you talk to me about that transition when you decided to just present yourself as more than Chef Ashley?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been an evolution. Um, Coming from like a culinary background and a raw food background, it made sense to start with like some small catering things and doing a little personal chef work and then like kitchen coaching and doing recipes for people and then eventually some recipe development for some restaurants and things like that. But then in my own life, I realized that health was so much more than food, and I was exploring essential oils, and I did my yoga teacher training and really started to get into meditation and all these different modalities. So then when I realized that all these other things were changing my life and that health is really this like 360 picture, not just what you eat, I decided that my coaching should reflect that as well so that I could help women in a much more impactful way rather than just the food. So my coaching definitely reflects that these days. It's definitely all about alignment of mind, body, and spirit, which obviously food is an important component of that, but it's not the only thing. And then I think really since the pandemic, I've really focused more on like slowing down and helping people create rituals in their day to create a lot more joy and to get to know themselves better and to really strip away that conditioning. And when we eat high vibe foods, that definitely helps with that. There's so much more to it than that. So that's why I really like creating this toolbox of different ways to support our health, from yoga to food and now to even human design, because human design really gives like a language to all the like weird quirks about ourselves that we always kind of resisted. But it gives a more empowering voice to that rather than thinking we have to be like everyone else.
I love that. I mean, when you talk about, you know, the rituals and bringing more peace and joy to your day, accepting yourself is a big part of that. But what I really liked about human design is it goes beyond the acceptance into really working with yourself. I mean, because sometimes just that acceptance goes into excuses or like, well, this is how I am and love it or lump it. And it's like, well, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't work for everything. You want to learn how to use what you've got.
Yeah.
What human design does is it shows you that everything that you've got, that you kind of came here with, is for something.
Yeah.
Right? And it really goes with the way I coach. And my coaching is that, you know, I show the proper usage of your strengths and weaknesses, right? And how to begin to transform those things. Because you can overuse your strength. Like like the old phrase goes, to a, let's see, like, wait, what is it? To a carpenter, or no, to a hammer, everything is a nail. Or if you're good with a hammer, you think everything is a nail. And that's the thing, like, just because you're good at something, that you're good at it in this context. But then when you use it over in this context, like, you know, I've always had sort of a counseling and coaching nature, right? But then when people weren't asking me for help, not so good, you know? It's like, then you come off as a know-it-all. I've come off as insensitive. I've come off, you know, when I was younger and I didn't understand these things, right? Because I'm just, because I am good at it, and I get feedback like, wow, that really helped me, da-da-da. So now I'm just looking to help everybody. Every time I see a nail sticking out, I'm like, bam, bam, you know, it's like, whoa, I was going to hang a picture on that, or I'm not really ready for that, or whatever. So I'm not going to get that good feedback that I get when I use my strengths, when I use it in the improper context. And I really see how human design allows you to do that. I know you have your own stories of how it's impacted you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's a great example, because as a manifesting generator, you're going to feel frustration when like what you're doing isn't working. So being able to like see that on paper and in your chart of like, oh, this is why, like, when I try to help people and they're not ready for it, like, that's why I'm feeling this way, or that's why I get this resistance.
Absolutely. And then, you know, in dealing with some insecurities, then I often would turn that on myself. Mm-hmm. It's like I didn't say it right. I didn't try hard enough. They don't like me. I mean, all these things that that's not the problem. Like, that didn't have anything to do with the feedback that I got. It had to do with context. So I have been just really excited to bring you on the show to talk about human design. So tell me, what is the background of this program? Like, who came up with it? Like, 'cause it seems fairly new, right?
Somewhat. Yeah, it was channeled in 1987 by a Canadian man. And he just spent like a few days, like he said, it was channeled through him. Like, there's really no logical explanation of it. But it's basically, it incorporates a lot of different modalities from the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the chakra system, quantum physics. So it's like bringing astrology, it's bringing these all together in one system. And then it's based on your time, place, and date of birth. And when you put that information into one of the human design generators, it gives you this kind of like weird looking map of like an outline of your body and then a bunch of different like numbers, and then it goes over your type, authority, and all these other layers. And I think it's really cool because even though there's so much to it and there's like billions of different combinations, so everyone's chart is completely different, like even just starting on like the top most basic level, it's super helpful and empowering. So it's not like you have to understand it all immediately or at any point to get help from it. Like even just like the basics of it can be super helpful and empowering. Like what we went over in your chart a couple weeks ago, that only took 10 or 15 minutes to go over, and that's just like the basic layers of it, but yet it's still like really empowering and so much information that you can use daily in your life.
It really is. And so I'm on this like new little mission to give it as a birthday present to like all the people in my inner circle, because especially younger people, it is something that, and also people that aren't fully living out their purpose. A lot of the things in my human design, in the chart you went over with me, these are things that I learned about myself rather painfully, to be perfectly honest. And, I would love to save people that pain by introducing them to themselves on that level. And it kind of reminds me of the philosophical quote. I can't remember who said it, but he said, maybe it's Kant or something, but the unexamined life isn't worth living. And so when you you can't spend all of your life turned in, right? Like, but when you spend some time like turning in, looking into who you are absolutely created to be, and it shows up everywhere. It's one of those things that's like hidden in plain sight almost. It's like you just needed somebody to put those things together. But yeah, finding out about myself, finding out that I'm like, one of the things was like being that I had multi interests, right? That like, so I grew up always admiring people that had this focus. When I grow up, I'm going to be this. And then they grew up and they were that. And one of the things, and again, like took me a long time to feel okay about not being that way. And part of my journey with that, I listened to this speech on Super Soul Sunday, and I don't remember who gave this speech, but she was talking about that she used to be a passion bully. You have to find your passion, find your passion, find your passion. And because when she was 5, she knew she wanted to be a writer. And then she became a writer. She pursued it all of her life, and then she became a writer. But as she looked around her to her circle of friends, she realized that none of her friends were like her. None of her friends knew what they were going to do when they were 5 and did the one thing. Mm-hmm. That her friends had multi-passions, multi-interests. They kind of flipped from one thing to another, and their life was completely fulfilled and they were happy. Like it was no shade to them at all. Like their life wasn't worse than hers by any stretch. Mm-hmm. So, knowing those things about yourself, because it wasn't just her being a passion bully. There was an era where that was like the big thing, was to find your passion. So for someone like me, it just felt like I was really failing because there were like all these multiple interests, and it kind of depended on when you asked me.
Exactly. I remember the first year I was in high school, Juliet West decided like you have to pick your career academy like by the end of freshman year. And that was like so intimidating. And that's why I chose fashion design. And not saying that I wasn't passionate about it, but I also feel like if I would have had more time to explore what I really love, I could have found something that had like more depth to actually, oh, what am I going to want to do in like 10, 20, 30 years, not just like what's fun right now. And I really think in the future that human design is going to be a part of like schools and like really finding out when kids are young, like what is their design, so that
At
like
least cool schools.
teachers, you can like really understand them better instead of like getting frustrated with a child because they do things a certain way, or like once you have that understanding, it's so much easier to support people.
Absolutely. And I really raised my children according to, there's a proverb that says, train up your child in the way they should go. And the picture there is that you train them up. You notice how they are bent. It's kind of gives the picture of a tree branch,
Mm-hmm.
and you notice the way it's going, and then you encourage it to keep going that way. So then you're not raising them against their design. You're raising them toward their design. You just do that like by noticing,
Mm-hmm.
and not freaking out, not like projecting yourself on all your fears onto them.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my children have artistic giftings, and I find that so many parents with artistic children are not encouraging to them. And they're like, what's your fallback going to be? And da-da-da. And I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, if they were created to do something, why wouldn't we believe that they're going to be able to be successful? It's a whole narrative created about starving artists. And honestly, like, literally, to continue to believe in the starting artist, you are just not paying attention. There might have been a time or whatever, but I live in this time, and I'm telling you, like, as I become an adult, being an artist is a blue collar industry. You get on social media, you market yourself, you get a tribe, you make it happen. Anyone, literally anyone can do that. Social media and the internet changed the game for artists. It's not what it was, and we cling to these old things. And it's ridiculous. But that's just like, I mean, of course, human design isn't just for artists, but that is a very good example of how society will like push against how a person is meant to be, right? And then they're having to grow up sort of in spite of that training.
Yeah.
So, so this is just really powerful. And you said you just kind of came across it on Instagram and you looked into it and got more info.
Yeah. I heard about it on a couple of podcasts, and like the podcast hosts had their charts read on that episode, and I was really intrigued, and I was like, oh, I have to find out my type. And then at first I was a little like intimidated because I'm like, I don't even know what this means. It's just like a weird looking chart with a few words on it. So then I decided to dive in deeper and kind of understand it for myself. And then once I realized that my chart was spot on, I was like, I have to look up my husband and my parents and all my friends, and just started talking about it more. And even since I started getting into it in October, I feel like I found so many more resources and a lot more people like talking about how it's empowered them as well.
Yes, that's awesome. So we'll do this a couple of times here, but let people know like how they can get in touch with you and find out what their human design is.
Okay. So I'm on Instagram at Nourish with Ashley. My website is thenakedfoodlife.com. I'm sure we can have like links to this at the bottom or that. And then I can also provide my email as well.
Awesome.
Instagram is probably the best way to find me because I'm on there multiple times a day. So.
On your email, you said?
On Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram. Yes. Yes. You can message her definitely through Instagram, and you're totally on there. So at least I got the Instagram on there, but we will put all the different links on there.
And Perez on Facebook. You can always message me on Facebook too.
Yes, you're very good about your messenger as well. So awesome. So yeah, like you said, like you kind of got interested in it when you heard that what the chart you heard was really spot on, or saw it for yourself. So I wanted to give people a little bit of a taste of mine, and then you had said you had gone a little bit deeper. I mean, like there's all these layers to it, and I'm getting more and more fascinated with it. So I'm excited to like learn more about this.
Yeah. So I will quickly go over all 5 main types so that they kind of can distinguish
Yes.
what your type is and why that would make sense for you. So there's 5 main types. There's generators. These are 70% of the population. And these are the people who like do the work of the world. They lift energy. They find mastery in the skill that they do. They wake up every morning with a full tank of energy and they're just like ready to use that. They're very magnetic, so they don't really have to chase after anything. Things very easily come to them. It's just important for them to do what they're passionate about, because otherwise they get burnt out and they feel frustrated that they're channeling their energy into work that doesn't light them up. And then next are manifesting generators, and these are about, so generators were 37% of the population. Manifesting generators are about 33% of the population, so slightly less.
And that's me and you, right?
That is you. I'm a projector, but yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. You are a manifesting generator, and you're very similar to generators in that you kind of lift the energy of the world, and you have this full tank of energy, and you're really good at implementing things. But with manifesting generators, you have a lot of different interests, and instead of like finding mastery in one thing, you like to play around with things. You like to have a lot going on at once, and you really multi-passionate, and you just like show the world that we're all limitless and that we don't have to box ourselves in. And then next are projectors. We are 20% of the population, and projectors are known as non-energy beings because we have a lot of openness in our chart. So we basically get our energy from generators and manifesting generators. And projectors are known as like the teachers and the guides of the world that can kind of direct energy, and they see things from a different perspective and different point of view. They can notice patterns, and for them, they need to work less and have a lot of time to recharge. But when they are working in something, they just really lose themselves in it, and they're able to just like channel so much passion into it. But it's important for them to wait for an invitation instead of trying to like guide and teach everyone. They kind of wait for the right people to come to them, and then they guide those people. Otherwise, they experience a lot of bitterness. But if they are waiting for that invitation, then they experience a lot of success and appreciation. Next are manifestors, and these are about 9% of the population. And these are known as the fire starters. And they're basically like, if you know like an entrepreneur or something, then you may be a manifestor. These are the people who they start projects, they have awesome ideas, but then they need the generators and the manifesting generators to kind of implement and keep things going. So manifestors have awesome ideas. They're good at inform and initiate. They're very independent. They don't like being told what to do at all, and they don't need permission for anyone. They just kind of do their own thing. And then last are reflectors. Reflectors are only 1% of the population, so super rare, 1 in 100 people. And they're known as the mirrors of the world. Their centers are completely open, whereas the other one, like manifesting generators and generators, often have like 7, 8, or 9 centers closed. So reflectors are literally absorbing all the energy around them, so their environment is super important. However the environment makes them feel, that's how they're gonna feel. So they need to really be in a place that makes them feel good. And it's really important for them to acknowledge that they don't have to be one thing, that they're chameleons to the people and the places they're around, and that they're always kind of shape-shifting, and to embrace that rather than fight it. And they're just having constant energy shifts, and they also have a really unique perspective. So people who are maybe business owners or something can really benefit from having that reflector perspective.
Very cool.
And now should we go over your chart specifically?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, you are a manifesting generator. You're multi-passionate, which really resonated with you right away. And it's important for you to realize that you don't have to finish every project you begin. You can kind of hand it off to someone else, or kind of let it go if you're finding passion in a different area. And really appreciate that you can wear many hats. and feel free to just let go of endeavors that no longer serve you so that you can make room for the next exciting project. And your strategy is responding. So again, you don't really have to go like chase people. They kind of come to you. And then there's, I think 6 or 7 different authorities in human design, and you are what's known as an emotional authority. So kind of make decisions from your solar plexus area. And this means you are kind of on an emotional roller coaster most of the time, and you feel your feelings very deeply. So it's important for you to make decisions when you're in a very neutral place and know that clarity comes in time rather than trying to make the right decision when you're super excited or super overwhelmed. Just like knowing that when you get to that kind of like emotional
like neutrality.
Neutrality, exactly. That's when it's best to make decisions. Otherwise, you may regret it later. So just like having that knowledge that it's okay to feel your emotions, but just giving yourself time and space before you make any big decisions in order to not let your emotions like run your life. And then there's a few different definitions. You're what's known as a split definition. This means that it's best for you to collaborate with other people for success, and you need a lot of stimulation in your day. And connection and relationships are really the basis of you living your design to its fullest potential.
Yeah.
Then there's 12 different profiles. This consists of 2 different numbers. You are what's known as a 3-5 or the Great Life Experimenter. The number 3 means that you have like an entrepreneur spirit. You learn through trial and error. You make a lot of mistakes and you grow from them, and you're really resilient. You're always growing. You're a pioneer in what you do. And then your number 5 means that you're a problem solver, that you offer solutions and new ways of doing things. But in order to avoid burnout, it's really important for you to set boundaries, because a lot of times people will come to you and be like, oh, we know Felicity can help us. But like knowing that you're not always here to solve everyone else's problems, and just admiring and appreciating the fact that you have this unconventional perspective that not everyone else has.
You know, I just want to interject real quick. I don't know if I ever told you that, because you knew me before my name change, right? Did you know? Oh, did you ever know me as Tatanisha?
No, I remember you like referencing it a couple times, but
okay, so it must have been, I think it was right before I met you then, because I am not great with dates, but so it must have been. Okay. So anyway, my given name, Tatanisha, meant problem solver.
Wow.
So it's actually, that's how it was in the book. But the reason I really believe that, you know, God wanted me to change it is because it was kind of a joke in Swahili. So it meant problem solver or problem causer, depending on how you use it. But the fact is, anyway, is that I was really like always in that problem solving mode, you know, where felicity means happiness. So it just like gave a whole lift to that and allows me to have those boundaries and pick and choose when I solve problems and not be brought into everything. So that's like been a huge part of my journey. So yeah, that's so many ahas when I listen to this. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, and also when I looked up your sun gate and saw that it was the gate of skills, which means you have enthusiasm for expression through dance, art, music, and speaking.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. So that was definitely meant to be. You're definitely doing what you're supposed to be in that sense, which is really cool. Because I feel like some people hear this and they're probably like, oh my God, that's like what I wanted to do, but I went in the opposite direction because I thought I had to please my parents or this person or that person, or I thought I couldn't be successful at that thing. So it's really cool to see that you're actually living this.
Yeah, thank you. It's very, like I said, beating the head against the wall to feel good about it, good about it.
Yeah. Then we can go over a few more components. Your digestion is that you do best with like sounds and music in the background or some kind of stimulation when you're eating, whereas other people may need silence, or some people actually need to like walk around or talk when they're eating.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially, I think parents like get annoyed like with kids sometimes with that.
Nobody would know this. Nobody knows that.
Yeah, exactly. And then your strongest sense, which makes total sense again, is outer vision. You like making things beautiful. Aesthetics of your environment are vital. You have artistic expression through music, acting, writing, and you have strong outer presentation, speaking skills, and a lively personality.
Wow. Very cool. And also the music thing, like there's a lot of things I do better if I have music on.
Yeah.
And if I'm as a creative, you have to kind of know that about yourself, because you can't just only create when you feel like creating. Like you have to be able to kind of churn that thing, out. Like, yeah. So otherwise, that would be where you get into the starving artistry. You can't just be like, well, when I feel it, you can't just be that way. So anyway, music, like especially if I need to write something, instrumental music. Yeah, there are I actually play music a lot through my day. So yeah, it's a very, very important part. So that's cool.
Sing as well. Remember, do you sing?
I do. Mm-hmm.
I thought that makes sense too.
Yes, I do normally sing along, which is why I can't play music with words when I'm writing. Yeah, otherwise I'm not paying attention.
And then next is your environment, and this is caves or places where you can choose where you're around in an environment where you feel safe and comfortable. So just some place where you really feel cozy and you can be yourself and you can do all this artistic stuff without being judged. So that may look different at different points in your life or whatever, but just
wow, God, that one's so huge. Yeah. So I went for I don't know how many years. I would say I went for 12 to 15 years without having a door on my bedroom. This was not good. This was very bad. So yeah, it was, I know there was one place. Oh, I know. The last place I lived with my first husband, our bedroom was in the upstairs. It was kind of a nice room, but you went up the stairs, there was just no door. That's all. And then when I had my first apartment by myself, I gave the children rooms, but then I slept in the living room. I had a bed in there. It kind of looked like a bookshelf. I mean, it kind of was cute, but point is I didn't have a door. Then I lived at my mom's place for 3 years, and I was in her living room, and I didn't have a door. When I moved here and had a door, oh my God, it was just I was like, hey guys, if I just have my door closed for 3 months, I might just be healing. It was impossible for me to create like that. It was shutting me down in so many ways, and you can't just be with yourself and your thoughts where there's no judgment. Well, first of all, I had to get over my own judgment, but any perceived judgment from other people and stuff is just it just made it too much. I just couldn't create. I could hardly create anything. Yeah. So, oh my God, having a door. So anyway, yeah, caves. Very good. Very good. Did you say there was one more, or was that the?
I mean, we have your arrows and we have all your open centers and stuff. It's up to you if you'd like to go over more of that.
Let me hear a little about the arrows.
Okay. So your arrows, which are in the upper right-hand corner of your chart, the first one is your digestion, and you have active digestion, so that means you do best with consistent eating times and when your meals are planned ahead. And then the next one, which is the bottom left arrow, you have fluid environment, which means you do best with frequent changes in scenery and flexibility where you're working and doing things, and you enjoy travel. Then your awareness is peripheral, which means you do better with less planning and you do better focusing on the big picture and know that the details will work themselves out in the process. And then the last one is perspective. You have strategic perspective, which means you have a logical mind, can easily memorize facts, and master details.
Wow, that's so cool. And it's definitely like certain facts. Like there's so much that I don't do good with. But when I'm interested in a subject, like so I went to the same church for 25 years. My mom says I'm an encyclopedia for what the pastor said. And I really kind of am. It's like I remember everything that he said about so many different, and I think it's just because he does have a systematic way of thinking, so everything ties to something else, and so that's why I'm able to. But it's just it is kind of crazy, when you're doing it yourself. Like you probably, it's nothing to you about the dates, like you're like that, and for me, I didn't realize that other people weren't retaining all of that the way I was. And I'd be like, oh, he said this, he said that, or, these types of things. So, there are some things I'm kind of remarkable at being able to remember, and a ton I'm not. But anyway, I guess it's just taking up all the space there. But anyway, so I hope this gives people a picture of how helpful that the human design can be. I just can't say it enough, like, to know yourself, right? When you know yourself, you're able to be true to yourself. And you're able to also be a lot more understanding of others. Like, I cannot tell you how many times in a coaching session I say to people are different than you. It's like such a little thing. Everybody kind of knows it, but we don't act like we know that.
I know. We resist it so much.
Yeah, when we know the depths to which, I don't mean a little different. I mean, they're a lot different from you, And so when we learn the depths of the difference, it really, really helps our acceptance of other people as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, I really encourage you guys to reach out to Ashley for your human design. And if you wouldn't mind sharing once again how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. If you're looking to connect, I'm on Instagram at Nourish with Ashley. I'm on Facebook at Ashley Nicole Perez, and also The Naked Food Life is my business page. And then my website is thenakedfoodlife.com. And we'll leave those in the comments. And then I'll also leave my email if you prefer to email instead of social media.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on Simply Felicity. And thank you again for the work that you do. It's really important. I've talked to you guys, my audience, about Virtual Vision University. You can catch Ashley there sometimes as well. That's where she read my chart to me the first time. It was very impactful and really kind of gave people a way of understanding how this could really impact and change their life as well. So, kind of got a little fidgety there. But anyway, hi, Maxwell. Sorry I wasn't able to put your comments on the screen. But again, Ashley, thanks so much for being here. And I look forward to learning more about this and helping you to impact more lives.
Yeah, what we went over today is just like the surface level. So it's so fun to dive deeper. And it's like once you start to implement like the first layers, you just want to learn more and more. And it's just so empowering to not just learn this information, but then see it play out in your life and see the way that life unfolds so much more naturally and with less resistance when you understand all these unique qualities about yourself.
Absolutely. Like you were created intentionally. Yeah. And things that even people have put you down for are things that when you embrace will open up your entire world, your whole mission. Like it is beautiful. And another thing I love about it is our design points to our designer. And there is so much great beauty in our designer to be able to come up with all of this. And so not only did he create you specifically, but he created you in a certain environment, specific environment. And when you blossom and love yourself and don't pay attention to, you know, the people that put you down for being you, you'll unlock so much for other people as well. So it really, it is integral. And I forgot, I wanted to say this too, Ashley. The thing is, I think how you had to end up here, starting with the food, it's the reason we eat good food is to live a good life, like with energy, especially like say in America, because you have all these choices, right? But, and you know, certain things might, you know, be a little party in your mouth, but they don't serve you necessarily that well all day. And so why would you eat well? Why would you really choose to nourish yourself? But because there's a life that you want to live and be present for. You don't want to be on a ton of sugar highs. You don't want to be on a sugar low where you're not experiencing. You don't want to be up and down. Like my personality is already emotionally a lot going on. I don't need to add to that with wrong foods, right? So because really emotionally now I'm really stable. I'm not up and down a lot, but I did used to be. And one of the keys to who I am is being super, I'm like super kind of stable emotionally. Like all the things under the surface, I know how to tell them, hey, you know, I read them, but I don't let them do what they used to do because then I can't do anything, right? So just knowing all this stuff, knowing how to work with it, super powerful, and it does all go together. All of health works together, and if you can believe it or not, creates a healthier world. So that's why I like encouraging people about it, because it's all of our business. We all need each other to show up.
Definitely.
So yeah, so thank you, darling, for being here, and look forward to connecting soon. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I will see you next week.
Bye.